as she attempted to emigrate to the United States. Sonia planned on following shortly after with her 2-year-old son. The sisters had heard that illegal migrant women were being allowed into the country if accompanied by a child.
We heard lots of mothers were getting through, and we were told that it would be very easy and that there would be no problem.
But shortly after crossing the border between Mexico and Texas last April, Sonia's sister and little Abigail were detained. U.S. authorities deported Sonia's sister back to Honduras, but kept the child.
They told us that since she wasn't the girl's mother, they would have to keep her, and only the rightful mother could claim her.
Sonia says she nearly lost her mind when she heard her young child was being held alone in the United States. She eventually made contact with a Texas social worker. He told her if she could prove she is the child's mother, Abigail would eventually be sent back to her. Sonia is actually a lot better off than a lot of other families caught in the midst of this latest immigration crisis. She at least knows where her daughter is and can hope that they will eventually be reunited. Their only contact has taken place in periodic telephone calls and, until recently, across the internet. Sonia told us the authorities in Texas would allow her to see her daughter in a video call if she was able to access a computer. We accompanied her to a cyber cafe in the nearby town of Morazan and showed her how to get online, and then stepped back to ensure the child's right to privacy. Sonia's first time ever using a Skype video call was to see and speak to her daughter. She says seeing her after so long made it easier.
It's better now that I have seen her, but the uncertainty is just too much. I don't know when they'll return her to me.
But the technology is no substitute for an absent child's embrace. Harris Whitbeck, Al Jazeera, Morazan, Honduras.
There are several reasons for the historic surge in undocumented migrants trying to cross the border. Central America is one of the most violent parts of the world, but what we haven't talked a lot about is why. Paul Beebe had recently returned from Honduras, and he joins us now with more. Paul.
As we've been reporting, 3 countries account for the majority of this recent immigration surge. They are Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. We're going to talk more about their location in a moment, but first, to put the violence in these places in perspective, take a look at this chart. This is homicides per 100,000 people, and you can see in all 3, most years since 2007, it's been 40 or higher. Honduras at about 80 last year. By comparison, let's add civilian casualties in Iraq at about 10 per 100,000 in 2012. Now that's probably on the rise recently with the violence there, but still the point is these countries in Central America are a war zone. The U.S. murder rate in 2012, by the way, 4.7 per 100,000. So when we ask ourselves, why are so many people coming here from this part of the world? The short answer is life or death. Back to the map, the main reason boils down to location, location, location. These countries are weak, corrupt, and crumbling because they are dominated by the drug trade supplying U.S. demand from south to north. Here is what Latin American analyst Robert Valencia had to say about it.
The northern triangles, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador is sandwiched, if you want to call it that way, between North America and South America. The consumers are the suppliers. There's a painful truth, and it's just that criminals, drug cartels, and gang members are more powerful than the government themselves.
Perhaps nowhere is that more true than Honduras. It is estimated that as much as half of all the cocaine coming through to the U.S. comes through Honduras, a country the size of Tennessee, with a population of just over 8 million, about as many as New York City. It is totally unable to control its borders, utterly in the grips of cartels and gangs. Now, children are especially vulnerable to gangs. They recruit boys as new members, sometimes as early as kindergarten, and they target girls as well, usually for non-consensual sex. Children who refuse their demands are tortured, raped, kidnapped, or killed. Even going to school can be dangerous. That's where they're targeted. Now, the UN has been looking closely at children leaving Central America and says, based on what they say they are fleeing, nearly 60% would be eligible for some kind of humanitarian relief or international protection, and for that they are looking north to the United States. So when there's talk of sending these children back where they came from, it's worth considering why their homelands are the way they are, and that they are more dangerous than even Iraq was from 2008 to 2012. These children are more like refugees running from war than migrants.
Al Jazeera's Paul Beeben.